if you want to be a great hitter, you have to emulate a lot of the things that great hitters do. And one of the key markers for an elite level hitter, and at the top level in MLB, they measure this, and that's length of time the bat is in the hitting area. If you want to be a great hitter, you need to maximize the amount of time you're in the hitting area. The reason we want to do that, and the reason why we want to have a long time of barrel being in the zone through impact, is it maximizes our room for air. If my barrel gets in the zone early, I now have all this room to time up a pitch. So I can be late early on time, and I can pound this ball very, very solidly if I get in the zone early. That means my barrel is going to be in the zone for a very long time. Obviously, conversely, if I'm in the zone for a short period of time, I have a much shorter room for air. So that's one of the big keys. Is it's not that the great hitters are any more talented than you are. Their bat's in the zone much longer. So what elements gets us in the zone longer? Well, the first one is making sure we're transitioning properly into the bat lag position. As you've probably heard me talk about, if you follow the Pro Speed Baseball hitting system, we want to make sure from the top of the swing, this bat is lagging behind the hands. That's when that barrel is going to be splitting the shoulder in half, anywhere from just above the shoulder to splitting the arm in half. Anywhere in there, if that bat's in there, now we can start covering that zone very, very nicely. If my bat is too steep, then it's not going to want to get into the zone until very late. Let me show you what that looks like from the down the line view. If my bat is lagged properly, now I can get into that zone for a very, very, very long time. If my bat is too steep in transition, then it's not going to get into the zone till right about in here, and I'm missing out on all this room. And it gets out of the zone very quickly. If that transition isn't right, we're pretty much very, very behind the eight ball from the beginning of the swing. That's the first key. The second key is if you want, now a lot of players can get in this position. This has to be trained for some players getting into that bat lag position. But there are players that get into a great bat lag position, but they're not in the zone very long because of the second piece. They're not releasing the bat. Pay very close attention to this. If you are the earlier you release the bat, the longer that bat is going to be in the zone if you transition properly. So if I get into this bat lag position properly, the earlier I start unloading those angles into the ball, the longer my bat will be in the zone. So, for instance, if I were to get in this bat lag position and I'm not undoing my angle between my lead arm and my bat. So we know in the Pro Speed hitting system to release this bat, we have an angle between our lead arm and our bat, and we want to unload that angle and line that angle up into a straight line at impact. If we're doing that, then we're going to be optimizing the fastest point of the swing, which is when those two line up. So when I start losing this angle, when I start unloading this angle, that's when the release starts. So the earlier I start that, the longer I'm going to be in the zone. So let's say, for instance, if I'm optimizing this and I'm in this lag position, if I start releasing from the lag position immediately, then I'm going to get my longest period of time in the zone. If I hold on to this angle just a little bit longer, so I'm in my lag position and I hold on to this angle and I'm not releasing yet, meaning I'm not losing my angle yet, then the barrel won't enter the zone till somewhere in here. And I'm going to be losing all of that room for air. So the great part about this is I've never seen anyone from the lag position release the bat too soon. It literally is physically impossible to release this bat too soon. So if I can get into this lag position properly, I literally can fire this bat and release this as hard and fast as I want to, and I'm going to stay in the zone forever. So if I go ahead and get into my load stride position and I make sure that I'm getting into that lag position, I literally cannot release this bat too soon. I try to release that angle as quickly as possible, but as you can see, that pitch was a little bit down the middle, so I drove it up the center of the field trying to release this. A lot of players, especially when I work with higher level players, big leagues, pros, those kind of players, they all tell me this feels like casting the bat. But the great part about this is if you lag properly, if you get into this position, you cannot cast the bat from here. It can't physically happen. You can only release. So if it feels like a cast to you and you're getting in the right lag position, then that's a really, really good sensation. And the other great part about this, players that, or a lot of coaches, players will have a concern about, is how fast we get to the ball, our time to impact. I have noticed when we do this correctly, our time to impact is even better than when the bat's short and in and out of the zone very quickly. That's because the bat is moving, it's building speed sooner in the swing, therefore we're getting to impact faster, making velocity much less of an issue. So not only are we maximizing room in our swing for air, we're actually slowing down the baseball because the bat's moving faster. Now, I'm not saying you're actually physically slowing the ball down. What I'm saying is your reaction time is going to be faster because the bat is moving faster. Therefore, it can get into the zone quicker. Therefore, velocity is going to be less of an issue because you can get there more quickly, versus if we were to explain it in extremes, if I was taking a very, very long time to get impact, it'd be very hard to hit a high velocity pitch because it would get up on me too quickly. So main keys here are, if you lag and the earlier you release is the longer you're going to stay in the zone. That main key that all elite hitters do or have is staying in the zone for a long time. So what all you're going to make sure you're doing is make sure you get into that proper bat lag position, release this, unload those angles, release those angles as early as you possibly can, and that will maximize the length your bat is in the zone by getting in there as soon as we possibly can. Now there we go. As you can see in the slow motion playback, that bat synced down to the lag position perfectly, and I tried to release that as early as I possibly could. Now, the first key to this is, if we don't transition properly, we're cooked from the beginning. We have to make sure that first piece is in place to make sure that we can start unloading those angles. Well, I've got a great bonus for you. I'm going to show you one of our best transition videos that I'm going to play a preview of at the end of this lesson that you can see absolutely free by clicking on the iCard that pops up in that preview, or in the link in the description below. It's going to show you exactly how to get into that transition position. Let's go ahead and get started. If you want to hit great, you have to get into the proper bat lag position. Why is the reason we want this is because it allows us to maximize our bat speed. So our bat cannot get to its highest speed until it gets 90 degrees to our spine. So if my spine is straight up and down, when this bat gets 90 degrees to my spine, that's when it can reach its maximum velocity. Everything in motion is going to seek 90 degrees to its axis when it maximizes its speed. Well, we need to somewhere in this area soon enough, we can now get into the proper bat lag position to release the bat. An improper bat lag position would be above the most common mistake, where the bat gets up too high, then it tries to get into the position, and by that time it's just too late. So how do we train this position? Well, I've got a beautiful drill that's going to show you exactly how to start getting into this transition position, and it's going to be just as simple as understanding the extension of the bat.